we should probably do the same as danger is likely near. One of those prey animals would of course be the zebra, and if you look on your left-hand side, she's going to be standing all the way in the back of her exhibit to the left. That is Masika, our female Brevis zebra. Brevis are the largest of the three species of zebra. The other two are going to be the mountain and the plains. And unlike the other two, Brevis are not social herd animals, so the males and females don't form permanent bonds, and the males are very territorial. So usually establish territory around a watering hole and defend it from all other animals on the savanna. So for that reason, they have their own exhibit, and we only have one of them out at a time. They do tolerate one roommate, however. I didn't see him as we were driving by, but I recommend stopping back by on foot to see if you can spot him. He's a very interesting looking bird. That would be Milton, our marabou stork. The marabou storks are nicknamed the Undertaker bird due to their creepy hunched posture and their cloaked appearance from behind. They're also commonly referred to as the ugliest birds on Earth, but we don't tell Milton that. Ignorance is bliss.
Aww.
On our right-hand side is our main lake. We have a couple primate islands out there. The two closest to us are going to be home to our black and white ruffed lemurs. Looks like they're living up to their name in Latin, meaning ghost or spirit, because I can't spot them. And then the island further ahead to our right is home to our red-ruffed lemurs. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a second. But we're going to address these very smelly birds to our left. These are our greater flamingos. Now, they're not called greater flamingos because they're better than the other flamingos, but because they're the tallest and the most widespread. They can grow over 5 feet tall. Some of ours have even hit 6 feet, and they're found in Africa, India, Central and South America, as well as parts of Europe. Ours are currently nesting right now. Those blood-bound structures you see are the nests that the flamingos build themselves. They'll form monogamous pairs and use their beaks and legs to stop an indentation in the top of it, and when conditions are good, usually after it rains, they'll lay one single egg, which they both incubate for around 27 to 31 days before they hatch. We do have a couple chicks in there that are only a few months old. Hopefully you got a glimpse of them. If you did, you'd see they're not pink like the adults, but they're born that grayish-white color. We'll talk a little bit more about flamingos and how they get their coloration when we get to our second group. And on that right-hand side, we're passing by our red-ruffed lemur island, and I can see, looks like 2 of them hanging out on that green structure towards the back of their island. Lemurs are really cool animals. They're not monkeys like a lot of people think they are, but they're not apes either. They're part of their own primitive group of primates known as the prosimians, which means before the apes. Because they're actually the most ancient living primate on Earth. Their ancestors landed on the island of Madagascar about 60 million years ago. There are over 100 different species of lemur, and they're all endemic to Madagascar, meaning they're found there and nowhere else in the world. And they vary greatly in size. The smallest is going to be the Madame Burke's lemur at only an ounce full grown, and the largest being the Indri lemur, which gets up to 30 pounds. Now we're making another right, but a left would take you down our outer Africa trail. Down there you can see animals like our cheetahs, our African-tailed dogs, our southern white rhinos, Howie and Lulu. My favorites, the baboons and mandrills, and of course our African lion baboons. But on our left, say hello to Romeo, Crockett, and Isaac. These are our dromedary camels, who are always more than happy to take you around a couple laps of their yard, and even stop and pose for some pictures with you. I know those guys are dromedary camels because they only have the one hump, unlike their cousins who have 2 humps. Those are called Bactrian camels.
Different humps.
So whether they have 1 hump or 2, what they store in that hump is not water like a lot of people think. It's actually a stored fat reserve, which they use to go about 100 desert miles without stopping for additional food or water. If you were to see a picture of a baby camel, you'll know they're not born with their humps. They actually don't start to develop them until around 10 to 12 months old when they start eating solids. Leaving our short trip of the Africa Trail and heading into our outer tropics trail, we might smell these next animals before we see them. On our left-hand side, we're looking for something called a maned wolf. Now these guys have the nickname of a fox on stilts, if that gives you a better idea of what we're looking for. They have that reddish-brown fur, super pointy ears, and very long legs that they used to see over tall grass in the South American wild. The last few times I've been around, they've been laying against the fence line, and yep, I can see at least one of them hanging out on the very right-hand side, right up against the fence, laying down in the sun. We have 2 of them in there. They are a brother and sister pair. Their names are Tiago and Jesse. Now, while they are nicknamed fox on stilts, they are called maned wolves. They are neither foxes nor wolves. They're their own species of canine, and with that, they have a unique vocalization called a roar bark, which sounds kind of like a dog got a hold of a megaphone. So on our right, we're passing by one of my favorite exhibits here at the Phoenix Zoo. This is our monkey village, where you can walk through and hang out with our common squirrel monkeys that are free roaming around here with no real barriers. We just introduced a new troop over here. We have 18 of them. So we have 14 adult females, 1 adult male, and 3 tiny little babies who are still clinging on mama's back. So they're super cute. You guys definitely have to stop by and see them. They're only about 2 pounds when they're fully grown, and the babies are about 1/4 of a pound, so super tiny. Sticking with that monkey theme, we're going to see some much larger and much louder monkeys. On our right, we're passing by our black black-collar monkeys. I can see at least one of them hanging out towards the very left-hand side, sitting on that log right there. Now, I know I called them black-collar monkeys, but that monkey is clearly brown. Well, that's because she's a female. Females and males both start out that brindley brown color, and only the males will turn black when they mature at around 3 years of age. Howlers are the largest of the New World monkeys and the loudest of all the primates. Their howls, which sound more like deep mechanical groans, reaching over 3 miles away through the dense forest, so they're super, super loud. They also have what's called a prehensile tail, which means they can use their tail essentially as a fifth limb. They can use it to grasp objects as well as to hang themselves off of tree branches if they want to keep their hands and feet free for things like eating. At the very end of that tail, it is naked on the underside to provide for a better grip, and they have markings that are very similar to our fingerprints. They're individual to each animal. On our left, we're passing by our Thunderbird Charities Equine Center. Anytime that gate is open, you guys are welcome to walk down and get a closer look at some of our horses. And if you are a loved one or interested, we actually offer a program here at the zoo called Horse Hands, where anybody ages 3 and up can learn how to care for and ride horses. For more information on that, you can go to our website, phoenixzoo.org, or stop by guest services on your way out of the zoo today. And coming up on our right, I did promise a second flamboyance of flamingos, and yes, that's what a group of flamingos is called, a flamboyance. I think it's pretty fitting, especially for these guys. These are our Chilean flamingos. Now notice they look a little different than the graders do. They're a lot shorter, and they are much more of a vibrant pink than the other guys are. But they get their coloration the same way through their diets that are rich in a pigment called beta-carotene. Now we get beta-carotene from foods like carrots, but of course flamingos don't eat carrots. They're filter feeders, just like whales. And they'll submerge their curved beaks underwater for up to 20 seconds at a time, using their tongue to push water out and leaving behind some of their favorite foods like brine shrimp, krill, and blue-green algae. Flamingos are actually born with straight beaks, and they feed regurgitated crop milk from both of their parents for about 4 to 6 weeks or until their beaks are curved enough to filter feed on their own. And then it takes them about 2 to 3 years to develop that iconic pink color that we associate with flamingos. On our right, this trail is our Forest of Ugo Trail. This is one big loop that starts and ends right at this fountain to our right. This is a cool trail to check out if you're not really sure what you want to see at the zoo here today, because we have a little bit of everything on it. We got some primates, like our white-faced saki monkeys and black-handed spider monkeys. We have lots of birds, like our toko toucans, hawk-headed parrots, and barn owls, as well as amphibians and reptiles, like our Amazon milk frogs, poison dart frogs, and even a rainbow boa. But the main attraction over here is going to be Augie, our Andean bear. This trail leads around his exhibit to get a full 360 view of it. Andean bears are very unique. They're the only bear native to South America, as well as the only bear we have here at the Phoenix Zoo, so he's very special to us. They're also one of the few bears who don't need to hibernate, as where they're from in the wild, it stays warm year-round. And their diet, which is primarily fruits, nuts, and berries, is always available, so there's no reason for them to sleep through the winter. If you guys are ever over there and having trouble finding Augie on the ground, look up in the trees. Andean bears are actually really arboreal, and they've earned the nickname of monkeys in a bear suit due to their love of climbing. They've been known to climb up their favorite fruit tree and wait for days just for that fruit to ripen to make sure they're the only ones to get a taste. On our left, these next animals will probably be pretty familiar to you if you're native to the Southwest. These are our Chicoan peccaries. I can see at least 2 of them laying down in the shade right there towards the front of the exhibit, right past the fence line. Now, these guys are the larger South American cousin of the collared peccary, or what we know here in Arizona as javelina. And while they do look like pigs having a bad hair day, they are not pigs at all. They're actually more closely related to something like a rhino or a hippo. So we did just have 3 babies born towards the end of last month, so they're still really small, only a couple pounds. And despite not being pigs, their babies are called piglets. Their next door neighbors on the left are going to be doing some fantastic rock impressions. These are our Galapagos tortoises. We have 3 of them in this yard closest to us. Galapagos tortoises are the largest species of tortoise in the world, and you're probably thinking, well, those tortoises don't look very big. Well, that's because they're the females. They're about 2 to 3 times smaller than the males, which can reach over 800 pounds. One of our females, Mary, has been here since the zoo opened in 1962. And although she is over 100 years old, she actually had some eggs hatched a little over a year and a half ago that are over on our children's trail if you guys want to go check them out. She's been with us for a very long time, and will probably be with us for much longer because tortoises can live well into their hundreds. The oldest living tortoise right now is an Aldabra tortoise named Jonathan. He is a whopping 191 years old. That path right past the tortoises will take you down to our Harmony farm, where we have lots of domesticated animals, like our chickens, sheep, miniature Jersey cows, miniature zebu. That's also where you'll find our petting zoo, where you can hang out with 6 different breeds of goat, all for free. My favorite changes by the day, but today I'd say it's probably Seymour, so just make sure you say hi to Seymour if you stop by. On our right-hand side, this very large and messy exhibit is home to Indu, our female Asian elephant. Looks like her back gate is open, so I'm assuming she's inside right now. So Indu gets to go inside a few times a day for something we call animal husbandry, and that's essentially just a fancy word for animal care. I know it's not polite to talk about a lady's age, but Indu is quite older. She is about 57, which is very old for an Asian elephant, and she has arthritis in her wrists, which is very common in older elephants. She gets to go inside, she'll get a daily shower, she gets a weekly pedicure, she even gets hydrotherapy massage. We just want to make sure we can keep her as comfortable as possible, especially as she's getting older. On our left, we're passing our jaguar exhibits, and if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of this first enclosure, you'll see our female Kaipora laying down in the shade right there. And then her next door neighbor is our male Saban. Looks like he's going to be towards the bottom of his exhibit, maybe towards the left. Now, like most big cats, they are solitary. They don't like to spend time together, so that's why they are separated. Jaguars are the 3rd largest of the big cats, right after tigers and lions, but they actually have the strongest bite force of any big cat at an average of around 1,500 psi. To put that into perspective, it only takes a little less than 1,000 psi to crush a bowling ball. They're also the only big cat known to regularly kill their prey by piercing the skull, so definitely don't want to mess with those guys. On our right, we have a zoo favorite. This is Judy the Cutie, our greater one-horned rhino. And if you can't see him, he is smack dab in the middle of his pool right now. And I don't blame him. It is very hot today. A lot of people mistake him for a hippo because he loves his pool so much. Greater one-horned rhinos are actually semi-aquatic. In the wild, they like to spend time in bodies of water to eat the aquatic plants that are growing at the bottom of the lake. Judy's name means holiday in Hindi. He was born on Thanksgiving 8 years ago at San Diego Safari Park. And while he was only about 2 feet tall and 100 pounds when he was born, he can get up to 6.5 feet tall and about 6,000 pounds when he's fully grown, which should be in about a year or 2. But don't let that size fool you. He can still run up to 35 miles an hour and stop and turn on a dime if he wants to. Greater one-horned rhinos regularly live into their 40s in captivity, so hopefully we'll have Judy for a very long and happy life ahead of him. On our left, this windy path is an entrance to our children's trail, which isn't just for kids. We have lots of cool exotic animals down there as well, like our emus, our wallabies, our two-toed sloth Fernando lives down there with his new neighbors, our first group of common squirrel monkeys. We have some king vultures down there, black swans, as well as 3 species of tamarin. Tamarin are super tiny monkeys that only weigh about a pound when they're fully grown, but even smaller than those monkeys we would see over in Monkey Village. They're super cute. We have emperor tamarins, and those guys have little like French handlebar mustaches. Literally the cutest things I've ever seen. But my favorite part of that trail down there is going to be our 4th and final primate island. That's going to be home to our Simon Gibbon family. Now, you can't see them from the cruiser, but I'm going to talk about them anyways because I love them so much. Simon Gibbons are small-bodied apes, and they're the largest of the 20 gibbon species. They live in super close-knit family groups that are usually comprised of 2 monogamous individuals and 1 to 3 offspring, and those offspring will stay with their family for about 6 to 8 years before they branch off and start their own. So right now we have Mom, Hattie, Dad, Boyd, and their baby Bodie, who's almost 1.5 years now and literally the cutest thing at the zoo. He loves to pick on his dad. He's constantly moving around. I've even seen him picking up turtles on his island and walking around with them. He's very funny to watch. Simons also exhibit parental behavior that's very uncommon in primates, as the dad will take over child rearing when the baby's about 1 year old. So if you guys are over there and notice Bodie getting into some trouble, it's probably his dad Boyd doing the disciplining. On our right-hand side, we are passing by the largest of the big cats. These are our tigers. Now this yard closest to us is normally home to our female Joanne, but I can tell they've switched them out today. This is definitely our male. He is much bigger. This is Raja, our male Sumatran tiger. Now, he may look like a very big kitty, and he is. He's about 300 pounds. Sumatrans are actually the smallest remaining subspecies of tiger. These guys only get up to about 200 pounds compared to the largest, which is the Amur tiger, or previously known as Siberian tiger. Those guys can get over 600, so quite a big weight difference between the two. Now, as we drive past and you look into the neighboring yard, you'll see there's a pool in there, and that's because, unlike most big cats, Sumatrans are fantastic swimmers. They're island tigers, and they actually have webbing in between their toes, which allows them to swim in the water faster. But use that to their advantage if they can't get their dinner on land, they'll chase them into the water for an easier catch. A path to our right is our Inner Tropics Trail. If you head down that way, you can find another viewing area for Chile and Raja. You'll find our Tropical Flights aviary. That's a